folks, and welcome back to another Friday Night Spotlight brought to you by Jones Ford Buick GMC, your hometown dealer for more than 50 years. This is week 7 of the football season. Everything continues to just trek along, and so are we. Jumping right into things, our game of the week is between the undefeated Higley Knights and now our one-loss team, unfortunately, in Casa Grande Union. First, before we dive into anything, we do got to point out that CG Union had a 16-game winning streak going on that dated back to the last season when they had the perfect undefeated season and won the 4A Conference State Championship game. However, that came to an end last week against a very tough opponent in Castile. That, I believe, is just the start of this very difficult second portion kind of the schedule for the Cougars. So, David, what are you expecting from this matchup against Higley?
Well, yeah, with the streak over now the real questions start to come out of, how did this team respond? And we kind of understood that there was going to be some growing pains with this team, especially with them moving from 4A to 5A. There's going to be a lot of new competition that they're going to see. And the team is not the same team from last year, obviously, with a lot of the big guys, big contributors moving on and graduating. So this is a new, very younger team with a lot of guys that may have, not seen the kind of level they've seen in their entire career. So now the real question is, how do they respond in this upcoming game? Because, it was not a pretty sight for them going up against Castile. They lost 7-48. The defense was giving up touchdowns like crazy. The offense couldn't connect. So they have to be able to find that switch of where, yes, they're facing tough competition, but they have to play their game still. And for one of the guys we have to look at is Torn at quarterback. He's been very good for them as a sophomore. He's a very young quarterback still, so he still has a lot of potential, and he's going to be, the centerpiece of this team for a while now. And he still has put in some good performances, but Mark Luna has spoken very highly about him. He's a great leader for them, both vocal and by example. So he has to keep doing that and keep pursuing that. So, and one of the big things that Luna has spoke about is that the team has to stop beating themselves, and they need to be more disciplined. When I was out there when they played Central, they had a great performance in that second half, but then they almost gave it up because they were giving away touchdowns, being a little bit lazy on defense, and getting a lot of penalties. And the penalties have what really killed them this season, even despite having all those wins. So they're really going to have to be able to to tighten up the screws a little bit and make sure that they're playing their game, because it doesn't get easier from here on out. So Higley's a great team. Like we said, they're undefeated. They're 3-0. They've beaten another Pinal County team in Poston View to week 1. So this team is definitely going to be strong for them and going to be looking out for them. So it's going to be a good game. But right now, I think that CD Union still has a little bit more work to do. So I'm going to take Higley in this one. But I'll be happily surprised if Union can put together a good performance on Friday night.
Now, looking at this matchup, I'm expecting a pretty high-scoring game. David mentioned that Poston Butte game. It was a back-and-forth battle. Both defenses struggled to slow the other ones down. I'm kind of seeing that happening again on Friday. For Higley, they are led also by a sophomore in quarterback Jamar Malone II. So far in just 3 games, already over 1,000 passing yards, 13 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. Now, this is going to be key because, honestly, the Cougars haven't seen a quarterback of this caliber yet in the season. So it's going to be interesting to see what adjustments they can make to try to slow him down. And then helping him out is Daxon Hall, his running back, 463 rushing yards, 6 touchdowns. So, there's kind of a balance there between their passing game and their running game, but still they rely heavily on the passing game. David, is there anything else you want to add about this game?
I think it's still going to be like you said, a very competitive game. I don't expect Union to put out a performance like they did last week and only score 7 points. They are a very capable offense. We've seen that already through this year, even with the bumping competition of 5A. So, like you said, I kind of expect the same thing here. It's going to be a high-scoring game, but it's really just going to come down to which defense steps up at the right time and who can get that edge for them and pull out the win.
All right, now transitioning over to our what to watch. David, what do you have your eye on?
I got Santan Foothills and Coolidge coming up. So Santan Foothills last week got a big win against their rival ALA Ironwood. It was a very tough contested game. No scores through that first half, and then that second half, Santan Foothills was able to kind of get away and finally start breaking towards the end zone and putting some good performances on defense as well. So I look at them. You got to watch out for their running backs. They are a very heavy run team. Their quarterback is is currently a sophomore right now, so they're just kind of looking to establish the run first before they start worrying about the pass. So they have very solid guys at running back, and one of the guys that may not get a lot of attention as some of the seniors do is Dallas Samuelo. He has 3 touchdowns and an interception in the game against the Warriors last week. He was the big contributor for them. He scored all their points. He helped them out on defense, so he's definitely a guy to watch if he can do that again this year. Mike Carlin, the head coach out there, has always said that they like to ride the hot hand at running back, so it depends on which running back gets hot at the right time against Coolidge, who Coolidge is going to be interesting moving forward with Gianni Masculino finally making his season debut with the Bears, and he came in and he has become the person that they wanted him to be in this first game already. He did throw 2 picks in the game, but he threw for 337 yards and 5 touchdowns, and that is a game-changing performance right there, and that is exactly what I think this Bears team needs to kind of get out of this lull of having good performances and then a couple bad performances. So I really think the Bears are onto something great here, and I think that Masculino could definitely be a huge bright spot for them. So I'm going to take Coolidge in this one, just with the up confidence that they have with Gianni Town taking over at quarterback. So I think this game will be great, but we'll see if Coolidge will be able to prevail. I think they will.
All right, and my what to watch here is I got to throw these guys a bone now because I'm not covering this week, so I get to talk about Vista Grande. Unfortunately, they don't have their stats posted online, but because I do cover them pretty much on a week-by-week basis, I know this team pretty well. So it's kind of a brand new season for these Spartans. Yes, they started 0-2, but the last 2 weeks they've gotten their 2 wins, so now it's pretty much a brand new ball game. 2-2 this so far this season. This week they are heading down to Rico, a really long road trip. But the bright side for the Spartans team is that they're getting a couple of their key players back. They've been banged up, missing a couple weeks, one of them being Fernando Moya, the star sophomore running back for the Spartans. However, while he has been out, other guys have been able to step up and fill in that role, like Angelo Tapia, Kenyon Caldwell, and Isaiah Talbo Herrera. Also looking at their offense, junior quarterback Darnell Castro has done a fantastic job of settling in and finding his open receivers like Jacob Finch and Angel Chidas. The passing game has pretty much been their go-to these last 2 wins, and it's been very effective, but also equally effective has been their defense. Their defense has been stellar. That's the only way I can put it these last 2 games. Guys like Atheon, Errol, Markel Lewis, Quentin Martinez, all these guys have come up, made fantastic plays, recovering fumbles, grabbing interceptions, and you know what? I'm thinking this week isn't going to be all that different for them. Coach Roberts has mentioned it throughout the whole season. This is a young team, mostly sophomores, but they finally garnered enough experience to know what is expected of them at the varsity level. David, is there anything else you want to add?
I think this is going to be another great week of football. We got some teams that are on the bye and taking a rest this week, but we still have some great performances we should expect this year. Apache Junction is playing this week. They're still undefeated. They're still a good team, so we'll see how they do, and then we'll see how the rest of our teams do this week. Should be a fun one.
All right, this week we do not have any Thursday games, so everything is happening on Friday night. Real quickly, here are our picks for the week, and as always, be sure to check out PenalCentral.com over the weekend to see how all of our local teams do, and be sure to check us out next week for another Friday Night Spotlight.